Ready, crowd's ready, and we are ready too for this game. Sheffield against Bradford in the Super League. Two sides desperate for the win, and inevitably it's Paul Broadbent who carries the ball forward and takes the first tackle of this match. Lawless is the man at dummy half. Edwards was just bounced out of the way then. And this now is Paul Carr. Robbie Paul was hunting him with a bit of help from Doniger and Abi Ikoku. Lawless flicks the ball inside. That's Steve Malloy making his full debut today, the prop forward. Now it's with Aston. Charged down by Edwards. Ball bounces. Savatabur came down and cut him down, but that was a golden opportunity for Edwards. The ball just wouldn't drop for him. But big opportunity now for the Bulls, for sure.
Great work there by Shaun Edwards. They were very slow to get the ball away, but it just wouldn't pop up for him. They really are under pressure now, Sheffield. Wonderful charge down, though, by Edwards.
The ball just wouldn't pop up for him, but here he is again now. Out wide it goes, chances here, that Scales out wide. Good defence. Tywork was in there. Oh, McDermott loses the ball.
Opportunity missed there. The big prop forward, Brian McDermott, took his eyes off the football. He was looking at the would-be tacklers. This is a charge down. Aston took all the time in the world, but it just wouldn't pop up there for the experienced Edwards. What a start that would have been for the Bradford side.
Malloy again will carry it forward to the 30-metre line. He is scragged and hauled down by Warren Jowett. Lawless looking for the runners. The runner was Broadbent. And John Keir knows his team got away with a first-minute shock there. The kick this time from Doyle is better. That separates Scales and also Spruce, and it finds touch over on the far side.
Quick thinking there by Doyle. Decided to kick early in the tackle count. You can see that he gave himself plenty of space. Not surprisingly, after the fact that Shaun Edwards had charged down Aston's previous kick. They took safety first. That is good tactics there by Doyle.
Well, these two sets of players in no real hurry to get to this scrum. Both of them ambled to the position. Edwards feeds, inevitably gets the possession, scampers away then from the base of the scrum, and Paul Carr had to come out quickly from that scrum and haul him down. Now it's Spruce, gets away from Doyle. Lawless was in there quickly.
Confident run there by Stuart Spruce. We spoke midweek about the fact that both these sides lacking in that word confidence. And a score early in this match will certainly set them sailing for two vital points. Desperate measures needed tonight.
Here's McNamara. Last tackle, that was for Bradford. Dwyer to Edwards, under pressure from Aston, he gets the kick in. Savatabur underneath it. Savatabur makes it to the 20-metre line before Jowett and Dwyer came in to cut him down. Now then, this is Pinkney.
Good work by Mark Aston there. Applied the pressure to the kicker, Shaun Edwards. Got a little bit of his own back there. It wasn't the best kick by Edwards, far too deep. It was easy meat for Savatabur.
This is Darren Shaw now. Darren Shaw, the second row forward. Returned to Australia last year, just one appearance for Canberra after stint with the London Broncos. The ball pops up out of the arms of Broadbent to Edwards, and Edwards then releases Ikoku.
Well, Broadbent's turning in the tackle, but where's the support? It was well read, though, by Shaun Edwards. Always aware that Broadbent likes to hit the line and then spin and turn and offload. He read it exceptionally well.
Doniger with that drive. Stands up, plays the ball to Dwyer at dummy half, who finds Edwards. Wide it goes to McNamara. The call is from Callan. Callan dropped it. That's the knock-on. Good defence, applauded by Darren Turner of Sheffield Eagles.
Again, they're spilling the football.
It was a big hit by Turner, wasn't it?
Was it ever? But Callan again, you'll see he just dips his head, looks at the man coming at him. That's two bad mistakes Bradford have had in possession. First McDermott, then Callan. It will not be pleasing their coach, Matthew Elliott.
Turner now. Graham Bradley, the team captain of the Bradford Bulls, in hospital tomorrow to have that nose straightened. It was a dreadful fracture of the nose that he picked up in the game against Leeds last week. Here's Shaw again, tries to ride the tackle of Edwards. Dwyer was in there also. Dwyer's all over him. That's a penalty. Dwyer claiming that Shaw had hold of his arm and the ball as well.
Now you can see that the left arm was well and truly tucked underneath Bernard Dwyer, the culprit. Well, they've dropped 2 balls, 2 bad mistakes by the Bulls so far, and giving away a penalty. There's the man who is far from impressed, and rightly so.
Malloy, Steve Malloy, who has been prized away from Featherstone Rovers by Sheffield Eagles and is looking for a big year in Super League. First time that he has played in the summer competition. Now then, Carr decided to go on his own there. Paul Carr, he used Crowther as the dummy runner, tackled by Vicona. This is Lawless. A lot of enthusiasm on show out there, particularly from the Eagles. Crowther's now moved into dummy half. He gives it then to Doyle, and Doyle dabs it through. Oh, and it's been spilled. It'll be 6 to go. It'll be a knock-on now anyway.
Well, it wasn't the best kick from Doyle, but it turned out to be quite elusive for the full-back Stuart Spruce. Well, he just made a real meal of it. That's the first knock-on. And then Aston made a meal of it. You can see that he tried to get it away. Edwards knocked it down. Head and feet to the Eagles.
Yes, in a dangerous position as well, 10 metres from the try line. And this is Turner. Darren Turner with a big opportunity here tonight, playing standoff for the first time. Sovatabua.
Oh, Spruce got ahead. He's really bad knock there from one of his own players.
Lawless is forced back by Brian McDermott. Sovatabua off the ground into the arms of Aston. This is Broadbent. The runner is Doyle. It opened up briefly for him, but then it was closed. Good tackling by Ikoku and Dwyer. The ball's come free. Penalty to Sheffield, right under the post.
Staying old, you've got to release the man.
Abi Ikoku, the culprit. And it was a good run. They worked very hard. Koku just over and went for the second effort. You heard the referee Russell Smith say that you've got to release him. This should be a gift, 2 points for the Eagles.
Well, Abi Ikoku didn't play last week, but he gets the nod today because Vicona's moved in to cover for the injured Danny Peacock. And that's the angle that Aston has. Just 7 goals in Super League this year. This should make his personal tally 8 and get the Eagles off the mark here at Don Valley. And he finds the mark. So Sheffield with an early lead, 2 points to 0, courtesy of the boot of Mark Aston. More than 2,000 career points, over 1,900 of those for Sheffield. And Matthew Elliott, the coach of the champions, watching, just in discussion with his coaching staff. John Keir, higher up in the stand here at Don Valley. Aston restarts then. Forshaw's underneath the kickoff. Good strong run from Forshaw, but trapped. Good chase. Now a penalty against Lawless.
Well, at least he's giving it for both sides, the referee Russell Smith. And you can see there that Lawless just holding him down just a little bit too long.
Strong run from Warren Jowett. Shaw in there, Turner in there. McDermott now.
Well, again, they're trying that short pass across the advantage line, but you can see that the prop forward McDermott, he wasn't running onto the football, he was virtually stood still.
Not the best pass from Robbie Paul, Vicona under all sorts of pressure, managed to hang on to it. Here's Ikoku now. Knock on. Touch judge and referee working together as a team. Not been a happy start for Abi Ikoku.
Gets the ball away there, but I think it's the one before that that is deemed. I think you'll see that it was Vicona, I believe. This is the incident. Well, that's all right. Yeah, it's the one before. The touch judge has brought him to attention that it was Tavita Vicona who actually lost the ball, but I think he caught it. Well, can't understand that one.
Here's Darren Shaw again for the Sheffield Eagles. He's Keith Senior, I beg your pardon.
This is the one, that's it, but he caught it. Well, that should have been play on. Touch judge has made a bad boo-boo there.
Now Doyle Senior was the runner. Still Doyle, he's under pressure from Edwards, having the devil's own job to bring him down. Needs help from McDermott. Eagles 15 metres from the line. Broadbent on the charge. Stamps over the top of one. Can't get through Dwyer though. Lawless scampers into dummy half. Flings it then into the arms of Crowther. Crowther tried to flick the ball away. Hit the shoulder of Jowett. Spruce clears up the danger for the champions.
Good work by the winger Matt Crowther there. But he tried to offload. He made the half burst. Perhaps someone may have called for the football, but Crowther definitely turning and offloading. Well, several mistakes from both sides now creeping into the game. It really is pressure out there.
10.5 minutes gone. Mark Aston's penalty separating these two sides as Robbie Paul sets off on a run. Gets the pass away, but it appeared to be behind Calland.
A little bit too high, hits the shoulder. But really at this level you should take it. A little bit too high though, to be fair, by Robbie Paul. Well, they're just not getting it right, I'm afraid. There's a knock on. And going into touch. Calland having no chance with that. Referee played advantage, non-forthcoming.
So that's Doyle, grounded by Calland. Turner dummy half. Aston. This is Taiwa. Taiwa taking on Koku. Good strong tackle from Koku, helped out by his captain Paul. Keith Senior at dummy half now. Aston, and this is Darren Shaw.
Pretty solid defence there by the Bulls at the moment. They're moving forward as one unit.
Broadbent. Again tries to run over the top of Dwyer.
He's making a big impact, isn't he? The Eagles skipper, Broadbent.
Turner. He took on Doniger, came off second best. Aston floats the kick over to the corner. This could be very interesting. Ball is knocked back and then hammered out of the field of play. But there was a chance there for Taiwa.
I'm not so sure that Taiwa wasn't in front of the kicker there. Either way, they got away with it. Definitely a knock on there by the big centre, Weta Taiwa. But I suspect he was just about in front by about a metre.
Now McDermott. 30 metres from his own line, he plays the ball to Dwyer, who in turn brings fullback Spruce into it. Spruce then, as he falls, gets a good ball away to Paul. Paul finds Vicona. Good tackling though by Senior. Here's Doniger. Again, Senior and Malloy this time combining. Vicona to Edwards, under pressure again from Aston, and Edwards hits the deck and doesn't get up. Looks for a penalty, non-forthcoming, so Sava Tabua is able to run the ball out.
He tried to corner the touch judge there. You could see that Aston had committed himself. Used the elbows, but it wasn't high, it was into the chest. And the experienced Sean Edwards did the dying swan act. Didn't get the penalty.
13 minutes gone, Sheffield ahead 2-0. Let's go down to pitch side and Bill.
The injured Bulls skipper Graham Bradley watching this one. It's a really jittery start by both sides, isn't it, Graham?
Yeah, I think we just got to concentrate on getting our kicking game in order. Here's another bad kick, and it sort of typifies the game so far.
Is it nerves?
Oh, I don't know. I think both sides realise it's a very important win. Sheffield obviously want to get their act together before Wembley, and we want to overcome last week's hiccup.
Thanks, Graham.
Graham Bradley, obviously with a nose problem. Edwards feeds and gives it to Paul, who tries to step off one foot and go round Turner. Turner got a slap on him and Carr finished him off. Here's Edwards again. Out wide it comes to Vicona. Vicona taking on Senior and escapes. That's a good tackle back by Doyle, who got him round the ankles, and Crowther. Edwards now to Jowett. And the Eagles' defence again stands firm. Carr and Johnny Lawless.
Good work by Tavita Vicona there. The first time has got around Keith Senior.
McNamara, up the middle he goes. Tackled by Shaw. Here's Edwards. Gets the ball away. Calland. Good tackling by Taiwa. Helped out by Aston. Little fiddle there at the play of the ball, but play on, says the referee, but that's a very shallow in-goal area here at Don Valley, and kicks have to be precision perfect.
There's a knock on there. Wasn't seen by the official. Scales made a real meal of that, and as Eddie mentioned, the bomb is far better utilised here rather than the short kick on the ground, because they are very shallow indeed, as Eddie has just mentioned.
I noticed Brian Noble, the assistant coach of the Bradford Bulls, counting them out. He was marching from the dead ball line to the try line, and he reckons it's no more than 5 metres. So it's very shallow, and as Steve-O says, the high bomb could be the key. Good kick over the top, that though. Spruce has to run it out, and great chase by Senior. Back in the side after the 4-match ban, sent off in that Challenge Cup tie at Castleford, now back in Super League. Great chase.
Kick's only as good as the chase, and it was excellent there. He'll be happy to get into the swing of things, Keith Senior. Only missed his opposite once, as we mentioned, when Vicona went round him.
I think I had Keith Senior sent off then at Castleford. He wasn't, of course. He was cited by the disciplinary committee. My apologies to him, but he still is back after a 4-match ban for all of that. As Spruce flicks the pass inside to Dwyer. Dwyer then gives it to the big man Doniger, who releases it to Paul, who spins away, and this is Robbie Paul now. Great run from Paul. He's on his own though. He takes the tackle from Somertabua. Edwards was doing all he could to get up to him. Now he is a dummy half. This is McNamara. Ball comes back on the inside, off the face of Forshaw. Another chance goes begging for the Bradford Bulls.
Wasted opportunity there. Robbie Paul spinning around and racing away. You can see you run the other way, away from Edwards, who's back on the inside. Somertabua did a good job there, held him down, but the inside pass was put down by Forshaw. Yet another chance gone begging. It was their problem last week against Leeds, and it's proven to be exactly the same here for the Bradford Bulls. They are so much out of sorts.
Malloy, who will not be playing at Wembley, signed after the Challenge Cup deadline. Incidentally, the Wigan Warriors have won the toss for choice of colours at Wembley. They'll play in red and white, and Sheffield Eagles will play in blue that day. This now is Doyle, off the side of the boot. Not a great kick, that. It bounces into the air, and offside against McNamara.
McNamara touching, I think it was Edwards that got fingertips to it.
Right, come off your man, if your man
You see it,
Sean is
goes
offside,
up for
in
it.
front. Okay.
Scales. And
Man in front took it.
he took his fingertip to it, and that's the reason why the penalty. Well, we mentioned the high ball can be a problem. The lights here at the Don Valley Stadium are very high indeed.
I know what you're playing at, but don't take the markers out.
So frustration for Matthew Elliott again, and a penalty for Sheffield Eagles to double that lead. Aston 1 from 1 tonight. This for 2 from 2 and a 4-0 lead. Gets another 2 points. Reliable kicking so far from Mark Aston. His boot has given Sheffield a 4-point lead. Good start for the Eagles.
What a vital 4 points it could be as well, because the way that these two defences are getting into each other. We mentioned before the start of this game that chances would be few and far between, and I'm afraid Bradford have squandered 2 of them already.
Forshaw now. Just 5 wins for Sheffield, by the way, against Bradford in 24 league and cup meetings, and only 3 wins on home soil here, or rather on home soil in Sheffield. There's the head-to-head. 19 victories in all games since 1984, when the Eagles were formed for the Bradford Bulls. Jowett escapes the clutches of Lawless. Good pass back then to Edwards. He looks for the runners and finds McNamara. Dwyer to Edwards again, under pressure this time from Turner. Edwards still gets the kick in though and finds touch.
Good kick there by Edwards. Turner was really converging upon him. It's going to be a tough evening for both these outfits. And nerves certainly playing its big part here. So vital that they get back on the rails both sides. John Keir, of course, after euphoria of getting to Wembley, they've been out of sorts in their first 2 games in Super League.
Well, for Bradford, really, it's a test of confidence, isn't it? 2 defeats in their last 2 matches have upset the apple cart somewhat. 2 defeats in the last 4, that should be. Upset the apple cart for them.
The biggest problem that when you don't have that confidence, of course, you're reluctant to try something a little bit different. As yet, we haven't seen any moves or set plays by the Bulls.
Oh, that's a great run from Turner. He's broken clear, and they're all streaming up behind him. Turner's taking them all on. Great tackle back by Edwards. He wants a quick play the ball. Pinckney's there. Pinckney then to Turner, to Lawless rather, on to Doyle. Doyle then to Carr, and Carr loses it.
That should be a penalty.
Carr saying there were 2 men in the tackle.
And there was. That should be a penalty. They go to him, and you'll see that it's deliberately dragged out there by Vicona. Paul was down to him. That should be a penalty. They've been very fortunate of the Bulls. It was a deliberate attempt to get the ball away. He succeeded, but the officials have allowed it to play on.
Well, it was a terrific break, wasn't it, by Darren Turner. Highly rated by John Keir, signed from the Leeds Academy. There he is in the green skull cap, tackling the big man Jeremy Doniger. Last man off him. And I wonder whether he will be a surprise choice of Wembley, but that's a great break from Callan, and a great tackle on Callan. Mark Aston came to the rescue then on his 300th appearance. But the Bulls aren't finished yet. This is Robbie Paul. They've got men out wide. Paul taking them on. Good tackle coming in. Great tackle from Doyle. Vicona. And this is Ikoku.
That'll be head and feed. Or was it on the last? It was on the last. That'll be the handover. Well, a big chance there. Yet again, a chance gone begging. They make the break, and they're not getting the points on the board.
Sonny Nicol involved in that movement as well. He's only just come on the field. He has replaced Warren Jowett. So Matthew Elliott has made a change, and Tai Rihana, the number 27, has also entered the fray. Forshaw, good strong tackle. He dumped Taiwo to the floor. Well, that little run then, and the opportunity, maybe has just pepped up the Bradford Bulls. Lawless hammers the ball downfield. The only chaser for Sheffield is Shaw. And John Scales, though, can't reach it. The ball finds touch on the far side. Good kick by Lawless.
Tremendous stuff. Slowly but surely taking control. The Eagles hooker, Johnny Lawless, been around a while. He knows what it's all about. And positional play is important when you've got a 4-0 lead. Just over halfway through this first half. They'll be quite happy with the Eagles with this. They've been keeping Bradford pretty quiet apart from those 2 breaks.
Edwards was possession from the base of the scrum. Found Paul. Paul then back on the inside. Nowhere for Callan to go. He plays the ball then to McNamara. This is Sonny Nicol, cleared to play in this match by the disciplinary committee yesterday. Sent off, of course, against Leeds on Sunday night. Vicona takes it to the 40-metre line. Ikoku's the man at dummy half. He gets them over halfway.
Good work by the 3/4 there. Quick play of the ball. We haven't seen that from Bradford up until now.
Good defence, though. It's standing firm. The Eagles.
Oh, he's
Someone's
out.
flat out.
He went very low into the tackle. Thankfully, he's moving, but he's extremely groggy.
Good run from Somatabua, meanwhile. And it's Taiwo who took that heavy tumble.
I think it was a stray knee as he went down to make that low tackle.
He's very groggy in back play as the Eagles try and work this away from their own try line. Shaw plays the ball. Crowther, good tackle. Scoreline, Leeds are ahead by 6 points to 0 after 20 minutes against Castleford at Headingley. And Tony Kent, the try scorer.
Good work by Senior there. Took him out of a big problem. Run the angle, made 20 metres, and a quick kick downfield yet again by Johnny Lawless. Slowly but surely, they're starting to control this game of the Eagles. They've already got that 4-point lead, and they are building in confidence. I'm afraid you can't say the same for Bradford.
Steve Malloy has gone into the blood bin, and Dale Lawton is the man who comes on to replace him, the hero of that semi-final against Salford. Lawton, a Scottish international, amazing turnaround, a rags to riches story for Lawton. He was on loan to Wakefield Trinity last year. Now here he is, one of the stars of the show at the Don Valley. Vicona, meanwhile, one of the stars of the Odsal show.
Well, it may have got past Senior once, but Senior's working overtime to make sure that does not happen again. Good strength there by Nicol.
Was. Two men round him, one of them that man Lawton, the other was Crowther. This is Dwyer. Ikoku comes in off the touchline. Lawton getting through his usual ton of work in defence since he has been on. Dwyer to Edwards. Edwards then to Rihanna. Good tackling by Lawless. He stood his ground. Now Robbie Paul injects a bit of pace, and he finds McNamara, who dabs it into a big open space. But again, that narrow in-goal area robs Bradford Bulls of any opportunity. Frustration for McNamara.
Well, the idea is there, but I'm sure that Bradford coach Matthew Elliott will get the word out. Look, very short in-goal. Let's get it up in the air. You've got to utilise the fact that at this stadium, the lights are so high that it will affect any high kick.
Well, Bradford, they have their inspirational figures, James Lowes and Graham Bradley, who we've already heard from tonight, out injured. We also lost Danny Peacock as well for this match. But Lowes and Bradley, they've been the linchpins, really, of their success over the past 2 years.
His arm went into your body, he's got to hold the ball.
Well, you heard the referee, Russell Smith, there, saying that the swinging arm dislodged the football.
Dale Lawton believes he's been badly treated.
Well, you see the Donoghue swing it. Now, was he making the impact or was he hitting the football? Difficult one for the official to see.
He's given the benefit of the doubt to Bradford. Edwards, Calland. Workmanlike defence thus far from Sheffield Eagles. Scales.
Bradford setting up for a move now, probably the blindside switch.
Edwards, McNamara, back to Edwards, out wide it goes to Vicona. Senior was there waiting for him, snared him. Ikoku. Donegal overran the pass, or at least the pass didn't come. Vicona to Edwards. Wide it goes to Paul. Robbie Paul saw a gap. Robbie Paul back on the inside, and that's a great try from Spruce. Spruce had to use strength in the end to get the ball down, but it was Robbie Paul with the electrifying break that produced the opportunity. Spruce is second in Super League this year. Put it down though to Paul, who injected all the pace.
Long ball out wide from Edwards. It was not the best pass, but at least you can see that his halfback partner jinked away. They hesitated, and he went running through. Beautiful support play though by Spruce. That was quite outstanding. You see they just hang off him, and it's enough for him to get going. In and out, and you can see that Turner held off him. Big hit there. Spruce, not the biggest man in Super League, but he certainly used it to full effect. There you see they just held off him. Turner was caught flat. Bang, get out of the way. Spruce takes more.
Stuart Spruce with all the strength in the world then to get through the attempted tackle of Rod Doyle, and he's got a tremendous try average, hasn't he, for the Bradford Bulls since he moved across here from Widnes. Now McNamara with the chance to put the champions ahead for the first time. Two good goal kickers on show here today. Aston on one side and McNamara for the Bulls, who lead now by 6 points to 4.
See how they just hesitate, and you cannot do that against a man as quick off the mark as this. Superb combination, but what a big dive over the top. Sheer strength there by Spruce, who took a bad knock early in this match from one of his own players.
Well, he didn't score against Leeds, Stuart Spruce, the first time he has failed to score in 1998. But Bradford now ahead as we touch the half-hour mark by 6 points to 4. The Sheffield defence pierced for the first time. Bradford ahead, 20 straight wins, remember, in 1997 last year as they marched to the title, but Leeds' victory at Odsal has put paid to any possible thoughts of that for 1998. Scales is just foxed by the bounce. Now the chase has to be good for Sheffield, and it is. Little ankle tap there from Darren Shaw, he did well.
Well, again, we saw the good kick and chase. Substitution, Dave Watson coming on, obviously to try to spark the Eagles back into supremacy. Bradford now in the lead by 2 points, and that can do them no harm at all. They were so tentative early in this game, and now they might become a little bit more expansive.
Dwyer, they took the dummy that he sold. Paul to Edwards. Now Doniger. Doniger grounded on the 40-metre line by Kona into the arms then of McNamara. There's the bomb, it's hoisted. Savataboua's after this, and Savatabua does well under pressure from Edwards.
Does he ever? Spruce was in there as well. And there was only one man going to take that football, and that was the full-back Savatabua. Eyes on the ball at all time.
There's Watson. Dancing little run from dummy half, the Kiwi international. 3 years at Bradford, of course, 90 appearances, 34 tries for Bradford in his career there. Sheffield is his 6th British club now, by the way.
And he'll be looking for a big game. He won't be happy with being on the bench for the start of this game. So he's got the chance now to impress his coach, John Keir, to push for the Wembley spot.
Aston drills the kick all along the ground. And Vicona decides to keep it from going over the whitewash. This will be the zero tackle, and a good run from Vicona too.
Well, this is the reason why they brought it into the game. Normally, the winger would have just let it go over the whitewash. And he gained a valuable 5-10 metres there.
That's good play by Ikoku. He finds McNamara, and then McNamara attracts 4 to him.
Edwards is becoming more and more important in this match. He's started to control things out there.
McNamara's a bit groggy. Dwyer, Rihanna. The Bulls are trying to find that power play, but that's good defence. Shaw and company, Ty were in there too, forcing him back. Here's Dwyer now.
I must say I've been impressed the way that Sheffield have been using their markers. They're working hard.
Good strong run. Sonny Nicol that was. This is Robbie Paul now. Would have been done for a flop then, Mark Aston. Edwards, back to Nicol. Nicol once more. Flicked the pass back, but only into the legs of Senior.
Well, that was a nothing pass by Nicol. Why on earth they even tried to attempt to get through that? You can see the switch when Edwards pulled the switch back.
Savataboua's on the break. Great run from Savatabua. Good tracking back by Scales, who got to him first. This is Lawless, and Lawless sets off on a good run from dummy half. Spins, gives it back to Savatabua again.
What a great talent the full-back is. Savatabua raced away 60 metres.
Aston.
Oh, forward by a mile. They just completely lost the plot. The experienced Mark Aston knows it. Throws the ball down in disgust. You'll see that the dummy runner, and that's what he's supposed to have been. They gave him the ball. Good run though by the full-back Savatabua. And full credit to Jonathan Scales to get back. But just getting back to that Bradford situation, that Edwards controlling things. He brought the ball back from the open to the blind side, but Nicol was stood still. They've got to be moving forward to make any impact through any defence.
Not too much to choose between these two sides at the moment, just 2 points. Bradford, though, do have the one try from Stuart Spruce. Edwards to Nicol. Now Ikoku. Ikoku does well. Dwyer to McNamara. Ball back on the inside to Forshaw. Forshaw releases the pass. Risky business. Sheffield have got it back.
Good work by the hooker, Lawless, there.
Carr, good quick hands. Nowhere for Doyle to go though, all wrapped up.
Good defence, they picked him out. Solid line of defence then.
Lawton. Lawless. And this is Pinkney. Pinkney been somewhat starved of possession out on the wing, so he's come inside and he's started to look for work. That might have been forward from Lawless to Broadbent.
Referee Russell Smith having trouble getting them back the full 10.
Up goes the bomb from Doyle. Who wants it? Bradford have it. Stuart Spruce. Off he goes, saw a gap and went for it. Good tackle back it was by Doyle, who put the kick up.
It had to be as well. The fullback Sovatabour was out of position.
Well, they do stand him up, don't they, in their attacks, and certainly at the scrum base. Sovatabour always chimes into the line.
Well, they were anticipating a kick through, and he's such a tall man, that's why they use him. I must say, both teams, I'm sure, will be given a bit of a lecture by their coaches, respectively, because they're very slow at playing the football. There's a lot of messing around in that play the ball area.
McNamara now, and Nicol.
You see, there doesn't appear to be any urgency to get on with this game.
Vicona. Another good tackle from Lawless. Dwyer to Edwards. Out wide it goes to Paul. This is the danger man. That's Calland. That's a power play again from Bradford. On the last, it's the turnover.
Well, that really did surprise me. I thought that Edwards would have elected to kick then. Getting close to half-time to apply the pressure would have been superb for the Bulls' point of view.
Sovatabour gets the pass away. Tall figure of Crowther was there in support. McNamara with the tackle. Watson dummy half. It's Jackson now. Drilled into the ground by the combination of Rihana and Dwyer. Kick for territory, downfield, and finds touch from Lawless.
Well, he's taken over the role of the short kicks and long kicks along with Rod Doyle, which makes me wonder perhaps whether the halfback Mark Aston has got in with a problem. We haven't seen him take control. He normally likes to take the first man on nearly every occasion, control things, and I think he may have gone into this game a lot less than 100% fit.
So important to John Keir's team though, Mark Aston, and this is a big night for him, his 300th appearance. Forshaw from that scrum. Watson with the tackle. Paul at dummy half. Bobby Paul, by the way, called into the New Zealand side. He's a substitute for the Anzac Test next Friday. Highlights of that a week on Wednesday in the World of Super League. That's a fumble. Another mistake. Donegan the culprit this time.
Big hit though, put this down in the defence. You can see he took his eyes off the football. Broadbent was going low. And Jeremy Donegan will not be happy with that. Neither will his coach Matthew Elliott.
Minute and a half to go to half-time. And Sheffield looking for something here in the last minute or so. Watson's all wrapped up by Robbie Paul. Taiwa dummy half. Aston.
They've plenty of time to work forward and then utilise the kick.
The runner's Lawton. Donegan downstairs. Dwyer was there. So too Edwards. Ball goes to ground. And again goes to ground. They've lost precious territory here. Good chase out too by McNamara. Carr.
Over the sideline.
Will it be the high one? I suspect the bomb's coming.
Last tackle is with Doyle, who puts the bomb in. And who's the most keen? It's bounced back off Scales. Edwards got to it and grounded the ball.
He had to as well. Well, I don't know what they're thinking, this Bulls outfit, but they're making a real meal of this when the high kick goes up. Good job that Sean Edwards was on hand, read it well. He realises that they are under pressure.
Well, Bradford, of course, in no particular hurry to restart this match with just over 15 seconds left on the clock, or just less than 15 seconds left on the clock. Chance here for one last hurrah in this first half for Sheffield, but they've got to get hold of the ball first. Solotabua has it now. Takes the tackle on halfway, and that is half-time. Well, 2 kicks from Mark Aston gave Sheffield Eagles a 4-point lead. Then Stuart Spruce stepped into the fray and got a good try for Bradford. Close to the line, he had to barge his way over. And McNamara kicked the goal to give the champions a lead. But 6 points to 4, courtesy of Spruce's try. That too in Super League. And confidence is at a little bit of a low. John Keir will be looking for a big 40 minutes from his men as Mark Aston restarts this match. Dwyer is underneath it, Forshaw will run it back, and it's Forshaw who takes the first tackle. Quickly in was Paul Carr with the challenge. And I just wonder what the coaches will have said at half-time to maybe pep their sides up. Certainly, Steve, I think you hit the nail on the head during our half-time discussion. Quick play the ball's what's needed.
A lot more enthusiasm from both sides and a lot more support play. There were the individual breaks, but I'm afraid there was no support on most of those occasions.
Edwards with the kick, with time on that occasion to measure his kick downfield. Crowther gets it on the first bounce, and Robbie Paul was brushed aside, so were the next two in, and Crowther with a terrific run. And there should be an inquest about that defence from the Bradford Bulls.
Well, it was a case of patty cake, wasn't it? Certainly no getting your shoulder to the stone and working hard.
Good start for John Keir and Sheffield Eagles. Their first set of 6 in this second half, and they're 10 metres into the Bradford half, and 3 tackles still to go. That's better from Ikoku.
Even so early in the second half, I just get the feeling that whoever scores a try next, it'll be pretty difficult for the opposition then to fight their way back. We mentioned the word confidence, and to have a try against them early in the second half, the heads could go down on some of the players.
Lawton looked like he picked up a bang then. His face grimaced with pain. He has stayed on the floor. Good kick forward. Jackson was hunting that. Spruce got to it first. Well mopped up by the Bradford fullback.
Tremendous positioning there. You can see Spruce anticipating the kick, realising it wasn't a dab into the corner, so he was moved up slightly. Read it so well. He's having a big game, Stuart Spruce.
Difference between the two sides at the moment. Calland, big hit by Michael Jackson on Matt Calland. Scales to the halfway line and over the halfway line.
Going a bit too high there. Scales taking full advantage, no one going down for the legs.
Here's Donegan now. That's the last one for Bradford. They're still 30 metres from the line. Edwards to Paul, and further out wide it goes to Vicona. They're running it again, Bradford, and they lost it. Referee will bring them back. Crowther's taken a bang too in that little passage of play.
Trying to get the ball away. Well then, was that classified as a knock-on from the Sheffield side? It could well have been, but
no, it's the turnover.
They deemed that the pass from Vicona was going forward anyway.
Interestingly enough, Steve, that's the 5th time on the last tackle that Bradford have operated the power play. In other words, they've run the ball, they haven't elected to kick on the last tackle.
Which is surprising when you've got 2 fine kickers out there in Edwards and McNamara.
This is Paul Carr. Plays it to Senior, and then across the line it comes. Jackson straightens it up. Last tackle now for Sheffield. Aston, and that hit Vicona, but nothing more.
Did he go for it, Vicona?
The referee has said no, he didn't. Tried to get out of the way, in fairness.
Yep. Lifted the left leg.
So it'll be Bradford's head and feed at the scrum, despite the fact that it came off Vicona's legs. Let's go down to pitch side and hear from Bill.
That's a change from Bradford. Steve McNamara coming off and Nathan Graham coming on, and I think the message going out with Nathan Graham is more urgency from Bradford. Same applies to Sheffield Eagles. That's the key word in both dressing rooms at half-time. They really want to up the tempo. It was noticeable in that first half just how voluble Matthew Elliott, the coach, was. This is the sort of thing he's looking for.
Robbie Paul, but he is in touch, although Paul will claim he released the ball before he was dragged over the line, but the touch judge immediately put the flag into the sky.
Great pace again. Savatabua, though, was equal to the task. Would have made no difference. He did release it back on the inside, a la rugby union style. He certainly had plenty of practice of that, hasn't he?
He was in touch. It was well spotted by the touch judge. Here's Watson. I suppose in many ways Sheffield will regard this as something of a moral victory. They lost 64-22 at Odsal in June '96, 54-10 at Odsal last April, and 32-12 here at Don Valley last August. They did win against Bradford Bulls here in Super League One.
Oh, that's silly. They're losing their temper.
It's frustration.
Yeah.
Dale Lawton and Bernard Dwyer.
Well, Dwyer would have had his knees into Lawton. Now, whether Lawton was holding on to Dwyer, it'll be hard to say. And you can see he went for his face, and rightly so, Lawton wasn't happy. Then he went again, then he went again. Well, that's silly play by Dwyer.
Dale.
I know he shouldn't retaliate, Dale Lawton, but he's getting a ticking off now.
If I could have got my whistle to my mouth quicker, I would have done. I had a player that stopped me getting my whistle to my mouth accidentally. What you've got to do is you've got to keep control. You've got your penalty. He's holding down. Don't take the law into your own hands because you'll risk punishment. Don't take the law into your own hands.
Well, he's been told now by Russell Smith, and the Sheffield Eagles have got the penalty.
I must say, you can see how clear that the referee, Russell Smith, made his point. That's probably why he's one of the best in the game, Russell Smith.
Of course, the other thing that the Sheffield Eagles players, I'm sure, will have whizzing through their minds, the last thing they would want in any match, this one or next week, is a red card and the risk of a ban for Wembley. Pinkney went without the ball. Scales has picked it up and just couldn't hang on.
Bad mistake there. Pinkney coming in on the inside when really Watson was showing his body that he wanted him to stay out wide.
Here's Forshaw. He goes through Tywer, nearly takes the head off Watson. Perfectly legally, by the way, straight into Watson's chest, but his head went back. Here's Paul. Vicona. He's trying to pick up pace, but we haven't seen any of the electrifying bursts from Vicona that we saw on the first night at the McAlpine Stadium. Good defence. Paul Carr picked up Sonny Nicol, nearly twice his size, and dumped him into the ground. Rihanna, straight up the middle again.
Well, Edwards is controlling it, but he's taking the ball stood still. He really has to take on the defence a little bit more.
Out wide it goes to Okoku from Edwards, and they force him into touch again. That's good defence.
There was no way down the alley.
Senior and Crowther.
Well, Senior's worked overtime in defence. Only once has Vicona got past him. Seems to have taken a little bit of a knock on the neck.
So the scrum forms, and Aston will feed for Sheffield. At the back it comes via Doyle. Grounded by Nathan Graham. Watson back on the inside to Savatabua, who's probably looked the most dangerous runner from broken play.
Well, the two fullbacks have been really the only stars of the show so far. A couple of nice touches from Paul, but that's about it.
Crowther releases the pass to Watson. Watson then finds Lawless. Lawless goes back the other way.
And again, we see no urgency to play this ball.
No, it's not the usual zip that we see in Super League.
That should have been a penalty. Rahana had a second bite at it. Well, not the best.
Poor kick from Carr. He knows it too.
Really should have been way down the field, but why on earth should Carr be in that position? Mark Aston, Rod Doyle, they should have been there.
Spruce has chimed in yet again.
Well, maybe the fullback could be the spark that the Bulls need.
Scales.
Big hit.
It was. It was Michael Jackson. This is Robbie Paul. Now it's with Nickel. Edwards. Forshaw drops it.
Well, the first run around of the game, and Forshaw loses a plot completely. More interested in trying to get his body spinning around rather than taking the football. Schoolboy mistake, I'm afraid.
He got a try here last August, Mike Forshaw, as the Bradford Bulls won the title. Darren Shaw returns for Sheffield now. John Keir mixing and matching and trying to come up with the formula. Watson stands and Graham gets to him. Here goes Thomas Brewer. Huge hit by Ikoku. Well, they say defences win matches. These two defences are pretty resolute so far. Lawless. Last tackle for Sheffield. Only 33 metres made. That shows how good the defence has been. They're running it. They're not any longer because Senior's put it down.
Well, maybe we can re-spool this and start all over again. The mistake-riddled game so far. It'll only take a try, and I'm sure that this game will really just explode.
Vicona, certainly on the evidence of last Sunday against Leeds and this tonight, the Super League has wakened up to the fact that Vicona can be pretty dangerous from broken play. Edwards, this is Calland, strength from Calland, support from Edwards, try from Edwards, he rolled over on his back and got that down. That's a try for Shaun Edwards, try for the Bradford Bulls. Great support play from Shaun Edwards. Robbie Paul and Mike Forshaw first to congratulate him, and look at the determination and the enthusiasm on Edwards.
First time that Edwards has taken the defence. Look how he's running at them, brings them back on the inside and then supports. Oh, great stuff. One of the best support players in the world. Good play by Calando. See how he did the dummy, but he took them on, which makes the defence hesitate. But good work. Tremendous upper body strength by Callan to offload the ball. See how he takes and they hesitate, brings it back on the inside, and the sheer strength allowed him to offload. And Shaun Edwards, a vital try. He'll enjoy that.
Well, he did. In the moment that he plonked the ball down over the line, he was issuing the instructions to his fellow players. Graham with the conversion attempt, left-footed and just the wrong side of the post. So it stays within touching distance for Sheffield Eagles, 10 points to 4.
There you see him running the angle, and when he does that, he makes the defence just hesitate enough. Look how they just step. They hung back, went too high. Fine try. A vital one too. He did well, made sure that the ball carrying arm didn't touch the deck before he spun over. Experience got him over for 4.
So 10-4. Edwards restarts, having scored what could well be a vital try here. Doyle, good chase from Nickel from the kickoff.
Well, now I think we'll see the sparks fly. Sheffield have to start spraying the ball around. Step up a gear, and I'm sure Bradford will feel a lot more confident now.
Yes, they've got to take a few risks now, Sheffield. Broadbent, great run, super run, but the pass wasn't the best. Just bounced off the knees of the supporting player, Mark Aston it was. This is Forshaw.
Should have taken it though, it was good work by the skipper. back on the inside. It wasn't a bad pass. He should have taken that, Aston.
So a chance here for Bradford. Vicona. Dwyer acting halfback. Edwards. Rihanna. Rihanna was spinning. Calland was looking for the pass.
Now watch Bradford use the link.
Calland. Still Calland. Great strength again. And they're doing their best to force him out of the field of play, and they have. Great defence from Sheffield.
Well, I think Calland will realise he took the wrong option here.
Later score from Headingley, 10 minutes into the second half, and Leeds have increased the lead against Castleford, 14 points to 0. A lot of people, including my learned friend here on my right, believing this could well be a big year for Leeds, and so far they're doing nothing to disappoint.
Don't look too sad.
You always get me in trouble with the people at Headingley. We're there next week. It's Leeds against Salford, this time next week at Headingley. And I fancy there will be a pretty big crowd there as Leeds, if they continue in this vein, look for a terrific start to the season which they've had and march towards the grand final.
Rahana threw a lefty in then. Touch judge on, and rightly so. Rahana saying, well, he started it. Either way, he retaliated. Lawton got a bit of a facial, and here it comes. Just a little one. Well, not the thing to do when you've just raced to a 10-4 lead. Give away a penalty and put yourself under pressure.
Lawton's sort of... He's giving one. He's giving one back.
Judge
So Lawton's offended first.
Referee.
And then,
So yeah, a discussion.
You've got the penalty. Bradford's got the penalty.
I think it's Bradford's penalty here.
It's important though. If he wants to swing out, let the toucher sort it. Don't you take it into your own hands. Let me sort it. Dale, toucher reported you swung out, first defence.
Well, that's what they get paid for, those touch judges, and they've got it right, evidently. Much to the chagrin of that man there.
John Keir does not believe that. Neither does Dale Lawton, who has been adjudged the first offender. Just to back up the date of the grand final, Saturday, October the 24th at Old Trafford. All this building through to a huge crescendo to the season. I wonder who will be there. You can follow it all with us here, of course, on Sky Sports, as you are doing now, as the champions, ahead by 10 points to 4, look for more here at Don Valley with Forshaw. Skips through one tackle, can't get it away from the next two. They're working hard in defence, both these sides. Bernard Dwyer. Graham in the dummy half. Edwards with space. Paul. Out wide it goes to Vicona. Vicona out wide to Ikoku. And the defence scrambles across and cuts him down on the last tackle. Paul to Edwards. Edwards with the kick, looking for Calland. It was imperfect, but Calland was stood in front. And as soon as Calland plucked it out of the air, the referee's whistle went.
Good refereeing there. Just in front. It was right on the line. And Calland having a few words said to him now by the referee.
The game's dead. That means release the ball and get back. That doesn't mean get involved in a push and shove, okay?
Took it well though, but just a yard in front.
Well, Somertabua wanted here to get on with the game, and Calland wouldn't release him, and then we got a bit of a push and a shove, and that's what Russell Smith was talking about.
I saw someone get sent off for a shove last week, remember?
I do. Sheffield have had the better of the penalty count, but at the moment they're on the wrong end of a 10-4 scoreline. Two sides here desperate for a win.
I think they'll be happy with a draw. The pressure that's been going on, and only 6 points in it. Sheffield certainly not out of this game.
Jackson.
And you just get a feeling that their fullback Somertabua would be the man to perhaps get them back into this match.
Here's Darren Shaw. Good tackle by Forshaw. That's the last tackle. Wood was the dummy half, and Aston will hoist the bomb. And Savatabua has moved up to try and claim it. It bounces off Spruce. And Nathan Graham has picked it up for Bradford, and they're forcing Graham towards his own try line.
Made a right meal of it, Spruce. Then it was there. Was that offside?
Could have been a little knock on.
Knock on, man inside, man in front. Well, perhaps lucky to get away with it. Spruce was nowhere to take that ball. It was a real bad effort from his part.
Callan rather with a strong run.
Worked hard as Callan. He's got through a lot of work.
14-6 at Headingley. Castleton coming back into it. Quarter of an hour, second half gone. Edwards with the kick. And the chase from Edwards. Get after it, Bulls. Well, Savatabua gets to it first. There's a good chase on, though. He gets away from Ikoku, flicks the ball back inside to Senior, and Senior with a great run.
Good combination there with the big centre, Senior.
Now Lawless.
Good work. Oh, it's got to be a penalty, surely. At a second bite of the cherry, Lawless wanted to get on with it.
It's time for your votes now for man of the match on 0891 33 33 13, and you could win yourself a couple of tickets to that grand final on October the 24th. 0891 33 33 13 for the man who's caught your eye in this match. Dabbed through by Wood. Spruce after it. Spruce gets it. The chase arrives, though. Aston working hard. Bradford within 2 metres of their own line. Here's Scales.
Nice work by Woods there. Oh, it's a high one from Jackson.
Jackson came off as badly as John Scales then.
Swinging arm, maybe the finger in the eye, perhaps, or from his own player.
He got a right hook from David Watson.
Here's a swinger. Oh. And then caught one back from his own player. Sometimes the scales of justice wobble somewhat backwards and forwards.
Penalty to Bradford relieves a bit of pressure. Wharton's in the blood bin, so Steve Malloy returns. Malloy was telling us in actually, I beg your pardon, it's Malloy coming back out of the blood bin. Malloy was telling us on World of Super League on Wednesday that John Keir has been working him cleverly off the substitutes bench as he tries to get to the pace of Super League, because it's a huge gap coming from the first division where he has into the top flight. But when he does get full match fitness, Malloy will be a great acquisition. There he is, and he bounced off that tackle, would-be tackle then from Spruce. Dwyer. Nice little run from Dwyer. No stranger, of course, to the hooking role, but James Lowes hopes to be fit next week to return to this side, and I think Bradford need him, Steve.
Certainly do, and they needed 1 point here. Are they going for it? No, they've gone wide instead.
With Paul, and further wide, and wide again to Ikoku. And this scrambling Sheffield defence manages to stop the danger again on the last tackle. Another pass from Bradford.
Well, I cannot understand that at all. They got themselves in a good position, good work by the forwards. An ideal spot there to just take the 1 point, and at 10-4, I don't have to explain to you how vital that could have been.
Sixth power play from Bradford.
It's obviously a ploy that's been given to them by Matthew Elliott.
Well, it's all beef and muscle, isn't it, from Bradford?
But you take what's on offer, and that 1 point was begging. Edwards opted to go wide.
Now Darren Shaw. 10 metres inside the Bradford half of the field. They're on the last tackle. Lawless drills the kick towards the touchline and finds touch, but they're going to have to come up with something a little more inventive than that, I think.
Just trying to wear down the opposition. It was a ploy that they tried in the first half, but as Eddie has mentioned, they need to be somewhat more adventurous. Now, they're still only 6 points adrift.
Come on, boys!
Kevin Crowthers comes on for Bradford. He's missed the last three. Former Dewsbury man. Just a handful of appearances last year.
Now then, will Bradford do something out of the ordinary? Remember, there's no full back these days. They always bring them up in the straight line at the scrum. Could it be a kick and a chase? There you can see quite clearly no full back. Wingman will drop back now. But it always amazes me that not many teams utilise that. Wigan do from time to time. So do Saints.
Double substitution by Bradford, Jowett and Crowthers. I think Stuart Raper, actually, Steve-O, from Castleford, used that ploy against Sheffield just last Good Friday. He noticed also that Sovatabua comes very tight to the line. Here's Robbie Paul, now Matt Calland. Broadbent fell off that tackle. Calland does well, gets the ball away, but it bounces into the arms of Nicol. Then it goes further wide to Spruce. Spruce is hauled down again by Michael Jackson. Graham to Edwards. Midfield bomb. Who wants it? Nicol ran straight into a Sheffield player then.
Well, he could be very fortunate not to find himself in the sin bin. That was a professional foul as you'd ever see one. Just pushed Senior out of the way. Oh, no, it was Shaw, sorry. Same hairstyle.
Here's Crowther. Yes, I think it's Darren Shaw. Keith Senior there at dummy half, and you use the same barber.
Never seen him in my bedroom. I do it my own.
Come on. Back with me, Bernard.
This is Martin Wood.
Maybe I should charge them.
Well, maybe what for?
Well, they've been sneaking in, haven't they? Using my clippers whilst I'm asleep.
This is Malloy. Now it's with Lawless. He dabs it through. And Spruce.
Sorry, see it off and kick. That's one. Come on. Two to me.
So it's Bradford who are in possession with Crowthers. I'm sorry about this, but Steve-O has just come out with a classic about the Clippers. I'm just wondering whether they're for your toenails.
Wait, Vince.
Oh dear. Paul's kick attempted upfield is charged down.
Oh, looking to get away with that. Vicona really should have held on to the football. Well, just a lapse in concentration from both sides. You can see Senior got his hand to it. But why on earth Vicona decided to offload this football? Possession is vital. Why on earth did he try to get rid of that? Well, I'm sure that Matthew Elliott, Eddie, will send out the message now. Look, we're getting close to the end of this game. Drive down, never mind the bomb, let's go for the 1 point. Let's be professional about this.
Here's Jowett to the halfway line. Maybe all that schmozzle there, maybe they thought it was still on the last tackle. Referees got them now. Martin Wood for laying on in the tackle.
This desperation over the top. He shouldn't be tired. Hasn't been on all that long.
So a chance here now for Bradford with Donegan. Game isn't won yet, and there's some 11.5 minutes to go. Bradford looking the most likely for Shaw, grounded by Malloy's tackle. Here's Edwards.
One more drive. Nicol's going to do it. Who's going to get it?
Now Edwards has moved back out of the way. But it's with Graham, who'll drive into the post again. Back to Nicol. Nicol with immense strength. They're camped underneath the posts. And Edwards is dropping back to set himself for the 1-pointer. But Jowett's going for the 4. He's hauled back. That's the last tackle. Maybe now they'll give Edwards the opportunity. Here's Edwards. There's Graham, left-footed from Graham. And almost a try for Edwards.
Well, not the best effort from Edwards. He got him on his wrong foot. He had to go with the left foot. But at least he didn't back in. He went for it. And it's a good job that Taiwo was there. This will be a dropout from underneath the sticks, is it? Well, was he pushed out of the way before he got the football? I think he was. That could have been a penalty.
As it is, it's Sheffield to restart on their own 20-metre line. I think they're fortunate with that decision.
Well, Sovatabua looked to push Edwards out of the way before he got to that football. But the amazing thing about it is that once Edwards went for the goal, everyone just stood still.
Here's Watson. Now Broadbent. Aston and Wood. And away they go with Senior.
Good tackle by Spruce. It had to be as well.
It's Bradford's turn to defend. Martin Wood. High kick. And it bounces back and is just slapped dead by Edwards. Well, Martin Wood got the kick and it looked as though it was sailing dead and it just bounced back. Look at that.
Well, schoolboy mistake yet again. 4 Bradford players in attendance. Wood throws the dummy and out wide, and you can see that Senior was through. It was a good tackle by Spruce, and it had to be. And from the kick, 4 Bradford players just watch it bounce. Well, that's a nightmare for any coach.
Man of the match time. Don't forget your calls invited now. 0891 33 33 13. Lawton will drive it in. We're inside the last 10 minutes of this game, and Sheffield need to up the tempo. Taiwo. Lawton comes on for Broadbent, so their skipper is off the field as Malloy goes on a barging run. Time now for Bradford to defend again. This is Martin Wood, and Wood brings it back, flicks the pass inside, and that's Jackson. And Jackson is hauled down, but so close. Jackson looking for the penalty, non-forthcoming. Lawless offside against Bradford.
Got to take the tap, get on with it.
6 more then for Sheffield with Wood, and this is Watson. Now it's Sovatabua. Sovatabua flicked the pass out the back door, and Forshaw said thank you very much, and that was on the first tackle.
What on earth was he thinking about? No need to panic. 6 tackles to spare, and they've just blown it. Nice inside pass from Watson, and he just passed it anywhere. Loss of concentration, and that could lose in the game.
Well, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but having seen that now, should they have taken the 2 points on offer and built for something else?
Well, I think they did the right thing of going for it, but you've got to play out the 6 and apply the pressure. If you didn't go through on the 6, on that set of 6, at least a little kick, get the ball back again, and then have 6 more.
Here's Forshaw, and he was on one knee as he released that ball, but on the last tackle, Spruce has gone down. Ball's flicked back on the inside to Nickel, and now it goes to ground off Crowthers. Knock on the last, it's the turnover.
Again, panic football. And you could see there, Crowthers was leaning forward as that ball went to him. Well, still in with a chance, the Eagles.
18-6 leads ahead now against Castleford at Headingley. And in touch are Sheffield Eagles. They are their own worst enemies. Crowthers just had a knee on the touchline, I think, as he flicked that ball back.
Not the best pass from Senior. I think Crowther was... no, maybe he got rid of it before he hit the whitewash.
I think he did. Well, 2 coaches who I don't think will be terribly impressed.
Say nothing, Martin. One.
Well, I'm sure Matthew Elliott won't mind how he gets these 2 points. At least it's something to build upon.
2, back off.
Edwards. Out wide it goes to Vicona, and a chance for Vicona to use his strength and power, and Vicona just loses his footing at the vital moment. Michael Jackson came in just to do enough. Now this is Nicol. Nicol barging for the line. Out wide it goes again, and over the head of Tavita Vicona, and he only finds touch. It's been a scrappy game.
Well, I have to question, what is the captain doing out there on the Bradford side? Paul is the man that's got the C inside the brackets, which indicates he's a captain, and there is nobody out there saying, listen, calm it down, forward play, go towards the sticks, we'll go for 1 point.
No, they've had a couple of opportunities. Keith Senior is obviously in a bit of trouble.
Time back on, lads.
Time's gone back on. We've got 5.5 minutes of this match left. It's still there for the winning. That's Watson. Good ball back to Crowther. Nicol with a good tackle. They've dropped it.
That'll be a penalty, 2-on-1.
It is.
Mark, I've got a touch just to check this on the blind side. Come on.
Quite clearly. And the prop forward, McDermott, I don't know why he had to have a shot at the referee.
Well, he was protesting his innocence. But I don't know why, as you say. So this is a chance for Sheffield Eagles.
Hang on. Tell that ball off.
2 balls on the field.
Yes, the referee wants it cleared.
If Sheffield scrape to a draw here, Bradford have only got themselves to blame for this one.
That's Malloy with the first drive in on this set of 6. Lawless and Aston. Lawton to within 20 metres of the line. Lawless again. Martin Wood. Out wide it goes to Sovatabua. Crowther's with the tackle. Crowther. Here's Malloy again. Martin Wood. Mark Aston. They wanted it dabbed through. That's good defence from Scales. And Scales gets away. Now it's a foot race between Scales and the rest. He fancies taking on Watson, and Watson did ever so well. He's got him on the line there too, I think. The touch judge says no, it's play on.
He was just short. Good work by Jonathan Scales then.
Here's Vicona. Now it's Robbie Paul. This is Kevin Crowthers.
Now then drive towards the sticks.
Well, bags of time. Plenty of tackles left. Vicona. Still Vicona to within 10 metres of the line. McDermott. Again using his strength. Dwyer's in at dummy half. That's Robbie Paul. And Robbie Paul fancies 4. And he's given it to Jowett. And Jowett, well, Jowett says that he has touched it down.
I think he may have got it down, Warren.
And the referee wants the video ref to make the decision.
Just check the grounding of the ball, please, Steve.
No, he's lost it.
He's short.
And it was short anyway. He's lost this. Well, they could have said they took the right option by running the ball yet again.
Rest, lad, just let it on back. Let's see what he gave. John.
But even if he gets it down, it's short. Even if they deemed that he had control, which he didn't anyway, it would have been short. Surely that's not too difficult for the video ref.
I think he just wants to check how the ball ended up, and it ended up actually in the arms of Martin Wood.
Definitely short. Definitely lost it.
John,
definitely no try.
Anyway, just wait.
Well, the players are lining up for a tap on the 20-metre line. And the video ref, I can tell you, wants to know what has happened to the football. And it ends up in the arms of Martin Wood.
Either way, it's a knock on. He's lost possession. It doesn't matter what it comes into the arms or not. Wasn't on the last, so... Well, I'm dumbfounded with this.
Well, if it's a knock-on, it could be scrum down and head and feet to the defence.
That's what it should be.
No try. And that's what it is. 10-metre scrum to the defence, because it was a knock-on by the Bradford man. Took a long time to decide, but the video ref has got to be absolutely right about the way that the game restarts.
I would like to get to bed tonight.
You want to get back into your room, do you? With your clippers.
Now, swinging arm there, but it went across the chest. Dearie me, I'm not so sure that
Taiwo felt that.
Fetatawa was too happy with that one.
Time's running out for the Eagles here. Looks like 3 defeats in a row at the start of Super League for John Keir's men. Not the best recipe to be heading to Wembley in a fortnight's time for the Challenge Cup final against the Wigan Warriors. But there's still time for them to rescue this match, not with play like that. They've gone off the boil since they got to Wembley, there's no doubt about that.
Taiwo going without the football. Just hasn't been his night, nor Sheffield's. Well, will we see it now? Will we see a drive towards the sticks? And then the 1 point.
Well, there's less than 2 minutes to go. Bradford, first of all, have to retain possession for this set of 6 and then see where they are. Crowthers. Wrestle to the floor.
Well, with enough experience out there, Sean Edwards should be at least telling the forwards, nothing fancy, drive it through.
That's Graham.
Graham's doing the right thing.
Here's Edwards now. This is Spruce. Spruce looking for 4, getting to within 2 or 3 metres of the line. Hauled down by Lawton. Edwards is there. Dwyer is there, trying to pinch one on his own. Edwards is just forced back into the field of play.
Well, it won't be Edwards with a 1 point, will it?
It won't be anybody. This is McDermott. Graham. And Graham gets the 1. And that's the match for Bradford. Big smile on the face of Nathan Graham. It looked as though they'd lost their opportunity.
Scrambled, but they got there in the end. His first effort, it just skewed away to the left. That was where the incident where Sean Edwards went near to scoring a try, but on that occasion, but I'm sure he's a very relieved coach, Matthew Elliott, because didn't that take a long time to get the 1 point that would seal this match?
Nathan Graham's first drop goal of his career, and what a moment to come up with it. And John Keir knows, as he makes his way down from his lofty perch at Don Valley, that his men have gone 3 matches at the start of Super League and still they await their first points, because we're deep in stoppage time now. We're just waiting for the timekeepers, and there's the final siren. Nathan Graham's 1-pointer in the end settled this match. So too did Sean Edwards' try right at the start of the second half. That made it 10 points to 4. Sheffield had breathing space and they defended well. They kept Sheffield